Hello everyone, this video will cover Module 9. Module 9 is in the middle of the comparison and contrast essay units. So in the previous module, you did some brainstorming for your comparison essay. Now, hopefully you have chosen a topic. If you're curious about the topic that you've chosen, I'll be leaving feedback on that pre-writing stuff that you did in the previous module and making sure that everybody has a topic that will work for this essay. And then for this unit, you're going to be starting to work with sources again. So we learned about MLA already. You guys took a quiz already, but we need to go a little bit further with it and really start to understand how we use sources within the essay. So you're going to be doing two things here, and you can do them in either order. This is just kind of the order that they're listed in, but you will end up probably using most of the same sources for both assignments. So it really doesn't matter which one you start with. So you got an MLA documentation assignment and a discussion board about finding academic sources. So for this assignment, you're going to be finding at least two sources about your comparison essay topic, and then writing out the works cited entry, and then a quotation and a paraphrase from each of the two sources. So your sentences need to be ones from the source, but they need to be ones that you have found within the source. So you don't need to find a sentence that's already a quote within the source. You can just quote a sentence. The purpose of this assignment is to get more practice, first of all, and then for me to start to correct some real specific errors that students make within the citation. So for the definition essay, a lot of that is content-based stuff that I grade on. For this assignment, I'm trying to get you more used to doing the documentation correctly. So I got this example here, which you're welcome to follow. Some students just download the file and then write over it, and that's fine. But the example is intended to kind of help you see what you should be doing with this assignment. And so it's pretty simple. You can do it either, have the works cited entry and then the sentences underneath it, or do both works cited entries like this, and then two sentences from each one. So if you remember quotations, you have to have this signal phrase right in front of it. And so I've got two examples of quotations, two different styles of signal phrases being used. And then these are both paraphrases, so they're ones written in my own words. And then with a paraphrase, all I need is that parenthetical or in-text citation right at the end of the sentence. So just a really quick reference to the source, and it should match that first part of the works cited entry. So it seems really simple, but once you sit down with an actual source and try to do it, a lot of times students get themselves confused and have difficulty with it. So follow this example, follow the examples in the textbook. If you have questions, you can always send me an email. So those two sources you can also use for the academic sources discussion board. And so one of the things we're learning in this unit is how to evaluate a source. We've got lots of different ways to look at sources, but making sure that the information that you have is good, credible information is probably the first step. So there's a couple of things to think about. First of all, how you get a source is important. So I've got this page here that's just more on finding good sources, just in general. And one of them is a link to the Allen Library databases. So database sources are great ways to find information that you know is going to be trustworthy. So in this case, I'm going to search for just one of my two topics. I've been using Democrats here as an example. When you click on search everything, you're going to be searching everything at the Allen Library, including things that unless you live, in Iola, you're not going to have access to because they're books. So the first thing you want to do is limit yourself to full text. If you just want stuff that you can access online, limit to full text. The first thing that might come up is a research starter if your topic is broad enough. And research starters are really useful because they are typically encyclopedia entries, and they give us some kind of broad overview information. And so if you click on read more, it will probably take you to a sign in page. We have to sign in at least one time for each session that you're using it, because this is all behind a paywall. So Alan pays for you to have access to these kinds of sources. And once you signed in, though, you should be able to keep accessing information from all of these sources. So if I decide I want to use this source, up here on the top is a little quotation mark. It's the cite button. And so one of the advantages of using a source from a database for any of your essays is that you have this citation that you can just copy and paste. Most of the works cited entries are correct, and not an issue to just copy and paste straight from that source. So I highly recommend just seeing what comes up if you use the databases. But if you decide you just want to do a Google search, that's fine too. And I will show you an example of so there is a website called Diffin, which a lot of students use for their essay, and it is just kind of one of those generic websites, just has lots of articles with information about them. And so but it typically comes up as one of the first searches for students when they type in their topic. If they do a versus with their topic, then they're going to come up with something like this. So the first thing that I want to do is put this on the discussion board. So this is about my topic, and so the discussion board assignment asks me to find 3 sources about my topic and just post them. So I need to post them, and I need to post them separately. So I'm going to hit reply, and then I typically give, you want to give a little bit of information just as for context purposes. So just, you know, the title, the author, or wherever you got it from, and then you paste the URL. If you put a space right after, it makes a hyperlink, and then you just post it. So that's the first step on the discussion board, is just to post 3 sources about your topic. The second step is to go through and find sources that do not have replies yet. So you'll see once somebody makes a reply, it will show up as reply 1 right next to it. So once you found one that does not have a reply, then your task is going to be to evaluate the sources. So you're going to evaluate 2 peer sources once you're done. And the evaluation will be based on these 5 criteria from the Patterns textbook. So if you go to the Patterns textbook, there is a section on evaluating sources, and there's a lot of information here, so you want to read through it, but it goes through their 5 categories that you can evaluate a source on: authority, accuracy, objectivity, currency, so how up to date is it, and then comprehensiveness. And so you're going to just write a few sentences about each one. So if we're looking at authority, and you can number these, you can bullet them if you want to. So the first thing I'm going to look for is authority. If I look back at this website, I'm just going to scroll really fast because I've already looked at it. There's no author. So I know right away that this does not have much authority because there is no author listed. Now, I'm not going to, the purpose of this is not to judge your peer based on their research skills. It is just to provide, it's for you for practice, for evaluation, but it's just to provide something for your peer to think about if they were to choose this source for their essay. So it's not trying to, you know, and they may not even be wanting to use this source for their essay, but it's not intended to be anything against somebody who posted this source, like this is a terrible source or something. So you look at this, and so one of the things you might do is, if there's no author listed, I'm going to look at the website itself. What information can I find about it? So they market themselves as a wiki, just like Wikipedia, which we know Wikipedia is probably not the best academic source, but they do try to make sure that they have unbiased information. And so it talks a little bit about bias. They recognize that. And so I might put that in my evaluation. It's marketed as a wiki. and then I might put something about however they try to remain unbiased. So that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that for each of the 5 categories listed. And I'm just going to write a couple of sentences about each one. And I do that for 2 sources. You cannot do a source that's already had an evaluation, so each source only gets 1 response post. You can save your responses if you want to. So like this one's incomplete, but if I just put, my name or something, I could always go back in and edit it. And that way I kind of save the source that I want to evaluate and no one can take that. So that's pretty simple. Make sure that you post each source separately. Otherwise, nobody can do an evaluation for your other 2 sources. So that's the only thing to remember. So that's it for the module. Hopefully you're doing okay. If you have any questions, you can always send me an email. Otherwise, have a great week.